Next weekend sees the Gypsy King himself, Tyson Fury, return to the ring for the first time since October in a mandatory bout against overwhelming underdog Dillian Whyte. The pair have been training hard for the fight, and their fellow pros have taken to social media to predict what might happen come April 23rd. Today, we are discussing what pros expect to happen when the pair finally enter the ring, so stay with us. First up, a word on the fight itself. April 23rd will see Dillian Whyte face off against heavy favorite Tyson Fury in a multi-million-pound world title fight at Wembley Arena in London. The fight itself will earn Whyte a whopping £8 million, which Fury loves to tell everyone is 32 times more than he's ever earned for a fight in his life, which is oddly specific. The Gypsy King will have his WBC Heavyweight belt on the line against the heavy-handed Whyte, and it will be his second title defense since beating Deontay Wilder in February 2020. Whyte was scheduled to face Otto Wallen last year in a title eliminator, but had to pull out due to a shoulder injury and made it clear that he wanted to fight Fury once he returned. The British brawler was at the time involved in a dispute with the WBC over a title shot, and it was thought that the committee would order the fight with Fury once they convened their AGM in November. But that didn't materialize. But a couple months ago, it was all finalized, and Whyte is now the mandatory challenger for Fury's belt, which scuppered any plans of the big man fighting Anthony Joshua or a unification fight with Alexander Usyk, which will surely be next should the pair get through their next fights unscathed. Who do you see coming out on top when the big boys go to war next weekend? Next up, UFC heavyweight Tom Aspinall has had this to say. Stay tuned. Aspinall, who is on an absolute tear in the UFC's heavyweight division at the moment, has chimed in on how he sees the world title fight playing out in just over a week's time. And as a family friend of the Fury clan, it will come as absolutely no surprise whatsoever that he believes Tyson will school him, as he put it. He pointed to the fact that if any heavyweight in the world was going to beat the Gypsy King, then it would surely have to be Deontay Wilder, and that assessment is pretty difficult to disagree with, to be honest. Aspinall went on to reveal how Tyson himself had actually helped him mentally before his most recent win over Alexander Volkov, saying, "I think Tyson Fury helped me the most mentally. Obviously, I improved a lot. My skill set improved, my boxing improved, definitely. It brought me a long way skill-wise, but more so mentally." The young UFC heavyweight then went on to thank Fury for his help, claiming he completely changed his career. He finished by saying, "He has completely changed my outlook of what I've got on combat and fighting. Without him, I wouldn't be where I am right now because my mentality changed completely since I trained with him." Who do you guys see coming out on top when Whyte and Fury do battle? Next up, former cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew has given his 2 cents. Bellew, who was one of the most popular British fighters of his era, has stopped by with a prediction that might shock the boxing world. He has claimed that Manchester fighter Fury will have to get off the floor against Whyte. Of course, this is a view not shared by many, as a lot of people have suggested Whyte won't last the first couple of rounds, but Bellew thinks Whyte might shock a few people. He continued by claiming that Whyte has the potential to make it hard for anybody, and anyone who thinks it will be easy for Tyson is a fool. He pointed to the size of Whyte, saying he is dangerous and brave, and those attributes will cause problems for anyone. And Bellew also claimed that he isn't telling Fury anything he doesn't already know, conceding that if he can get through the first 6 rounds, he expects the Gypsy King to take the fight by the scruff of the neck in the later stages, before reiterating his belief that Fury will have to get off the floor at some stage. Big chat from Bomber. What do you guys make of this one? Derek Chisora has also made his prediction. Stay with us to hear it. Derek Chisora is in a unique position. He is one of the only men to have fought both these guys, and as such, is in a fantastic position to give his thoughts as to who comes out on top next weekend. He has fought both fighters on 2 occasions, but since last facing Fury, the Gypsy King's stock has skyrocketed, whereas Whyte's has remained largely the same. And like Bellew, Chisora claims that Whyte has what it takes to potentially shock the world when the pair finally meet in the ring, saying he, Dillian Whyte, wants it. He's hungry. The problem is, when fighters make 20, 30, or 40 million, they're not hungry anymore. There's only one fighter who has ever been hungry when he's made £100 million, and that's Floyd Mayweather. When the rest of the fighters make all this money, they're not hungry anymore. They just do it for the sake of doing it. Whilst we don't necessarily agree that Fury has lost his hunger, given his performance against Wilder in the 3rd fight in particular, Chisora claims that Whyte is willing to die in the ring that day. What do you make of Chisora's words? Let us know below. Next up, it's Daniel Dubois. Stick around. Fellow heavyweight Daniel Dubois has also backed Dillian Whyte to potentially cause an upset come April 23rd. However, he has also acknowledged that Whyte is the underdog, but has outlined a couple of areas where he could excel. Dubois claims Whyte has a puncher's chance against Fury and shouldn't be taken lightly, as he has earned his shot. Unlike Bellew and Chisora, Dubois admitted that he thinks Fury will ultimately come out on top, but But similar to Bellew, he referenced Whyte's heart and told of how he can really fight, which we guess helps if you happen to be a pro boxer. What do you guys make of Dubois' words? Does he have a puncher's chance? Fellow heavyweight Joseph Parker is up next. Stay tuned. Parker, who lost to Dillian Whyte in 2018, has revealed his thoughts on who he sees coming out on top once the heavyweight title fight gets underway. And unfortunately for Whyte, Parker sees no possible way he can dominate the Gypsy King. Parker and Fury are longtime friends, and Parker has even fought and beaten Fury's cousin, Huey, back in 2017. They also regularly train together, so it probably won't come as a surprise that he has chosen Tyson to win the bout. Speaking recently, Parker described how Fury will have too much for Whyte, saying size-wise, power-wise, strength, he can move, he can fight, and so I think he's going to get Whyte out of there in the first 6 rounds. Of course, he didn't neglect to mention Whyte's power, of which he has plenty, but he went on to claim that Tyson will be too smart for him. Parker said back in January that he would never fight Tyson as he views him like a brother, but we're sure he would probably change his mind should the opportunity to make the sort of money Whyte will make arises. Parker has even revealed he's based in Morecambe now, the same town as Fury, so the pair regularly spar and train together. Do you guys see any way for Whyte to get the W? And finally, David Haye has given his thoughts. With the fight just over a week away, David Haye has made a bold prediction. He, like Chisora and Bellew, believe that Dillian can upset the odds and walk away with Fury's WC belt on April 24th. And Fury hasn't fought on home soil for almost 4 years, which for some reason Haye believes will play into the result. Haye claims that Whyte has all the attributes needed to cause an upset, and even went as far as to say that if he had a pound, he would put the whole thing on Whyte. Wow, steady on now, Dave. Haye, who retired after back-to-back losses to Tony Bellew, said, "Yeah, I'm going with Dillian with the massive upset. We had an upset with Anthony Joshua against Alexander Usyk. However, a lot of boxing fans will disagree with Haye's claims that the Usyk result was an upset, as the Ukrainian is a legitimate killer." Haye went on to say that crazy stuff happens just when you think you have things figured out, especially in the heavyweight division. Do you guys agree with Haye? Surprisingly, more than a few pros believe Whyte has the tools to cause a huge upset. But where do you stand? Let us know below. As always, thanks for stopping by, and remember to swing by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not do us a solid and like and share our video today, whilst also remembering to subscribe to our channel. Bye guys!